Hello everybody and welcome to another Archetype guide. Today we're going to be talking about the Rogue Archetype Agility Matters. For the rest of this video, I am going to forget in my brain that the word agility exists, and instead I'm going to choose the one syllable name that we call it instead, which is foot. I know on YouTube, some people don't like that we refer to these by our nicknames for them, and honestly, that's completely fair. But at the same time, I'd much rather say one syllable, like book or foot, than intellect or agility. So, today, it's feet that matter, not agility, but I mean, this is still the Agility Matters archetype. So, Bryn, as our resident rogue expert, what is the goal of this archetype?
All right, so let's tackle first things first. Foot matters is the biggest lie you've ever been told. It does not. Like occasionally the game will ask you to make a foot test or something bad might happen to you, but beyond that, it doesn't really do very much. So more or less, the goal of this archetype is to take our large foot score and make it do something for us. Whether that's
Actually,
by
anything.
Yeah, like, pretty close to anything. There are a whole lot of rogue cards that we'll get into in a minute here that let you use your foot score for something proactive.
Sure. All right, then let's first dive in. We have some. Oh my God! No. I made two
before
of
we
these.
get to this,
I made two
Before we
of
get-
these. Oh, sorry, you go, Travis.
I was going to say, before we get into slides for this, these are going to be the ones that care about foot as a stat and not foot in the context of evasion. Evasion matters as its own archetype.
Yeah, and that's actually what I was about to say because I made an evasion archetype slides today, and it started with Finn and Trish. So I was like, all right, let's talk about Finn and Trish, and I had a panic attack when I saw that they weren't here. Bryn,
Oh my god.
I'll pass these ones to you.
All right. So we've got the Cat Burglar. He's a level 1, 4-costed ally, gives you +1 foot. As an action, you can exhaust him to disengage from each enemy engaged with you and move to a connecting location. This action does not provoke attacks of opportunity. You can't see, but he soaks 2 and 2. He's just kind of solid. Like he makes your foot better, which if you're trying to use it for things, one more is always better.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, almost always better, but
Yeah, there's one thing that
Yeah.
the astute viewers might notice of what all four of these cards have in common, besides being green and assets, before the smart Alex get to me.
yeah. We got Lola Santiago, who is a 3-cost level 3 ally asset. It gives you +1 book and +1 foot. As a lightning bolt, you can exhaust her and spend X resources. Discover 1 clue at your location. X is the shroud value of your location. She also soaks 2 and 2. She's really good, just all the time.
Yeah.
Not only for this archetype, but she gives us that key point of foot and does other things for us as well.
Mm-hmm.
We got the moon. What is that, 13?
Mm-hmm. Now, 18?
It's the
Sure,
moon
yeah.
card.
Yeah,
It's the moon
yeah,
card.
it's the moon tarot
Yeah.
card. The moon 18.
It's not like there's other moon
Whatever.
cards.
Yeah, I guess that is 10-5-3 is 18. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would make sense. You get +1 foot. Costs 3 to play. It's a tarot card, so as a reaction effect, when the game begins, if it is in your opening hand, you can put it into play for free. This one actually just makes your foot better, which is important if you're trying to use it for things. We got Delilah O'Rourke, who is sort of the mirror to Lola Santiago. She's a 3-cost level 3 ally, gives you +1 punch and +1 foot. As a lightning bolt, you can exhaust her and spend X resources. Choose an enemy at your location, deal 1 damage to that chosen enemy. 2 damage instead if that enemy is exhausted. X is the chosen enemy's evade value. She soaks 3 and 2, which is, damage is mostly less important than clues until you can't do it.
Yeah.
But she gives us
Of note, with this, with your high foot, it'll make it very easy for you to evade enemies. But Delilah O'Rourke can still shine in decks where you don't evade, because enemies, when they attack, they do also evade, so you can also, like, sneak damage onto them that way. However, being able to evade enemies makes Delilah a lot more consistent, and also you're not getting beamed in the face to use her ability. So just for reference for her as well.
It's actually really good. Like oh no, he's blue-green, not green-blue. Never mind. I guess you could play her in skids. Because he can play blue assets and soak damage pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. I'll hop on to the next one. We got two, Hard Knocks. So these are... there is a level 4 version as well. There just was no image of it that I could find online, so I did not include it. And I believe that is in from either Lair of Dagon or Into the Maelstrom. It's from one of those packs. So it's from the Innsmouth Conspiracy Cycle. It's not on this page, though. These ones, you can spend resources to get more fist or more foot. And as you can see, just over here, the archetype is foot matters. So if you're using this to bump up your foot, it can get you some of the sticky situations where your foot matters. However, like Bryn said, ultimately, like, when you're evading enemies, you're not really dealing with them. Like, evasion works best in, like, a solo situation when you don't have to, when an enemy doesn't have Hunter and you don't have to kill it. The nice thing that Hard Knocks does is if you wanted to play this, you also could bump up your fist, which is relevant when you also want to kill enemies and not just deal with them in the future. Likewise, Streetwise, there's a level 0 version and a permanent level 3 version, but is it taboo to be higher or no?
Yeah, it's taboo to be like 6, I think.
Yeah, so we always recommend not playing with the taboo list, but if you are playing with the taboo list, the experience will be, you have to pay a bit more for it. Permanent means it's always in play, so you can just spend 2 resources to get +3 book or +3 foot for the experienced version. For the inexperienced version, you can just spend 2 resources to get +2 book or +2 foot for this test. As you can see, the experienced version, just by looking at the numbers and math, is better value, and it's actually like a big boost. And also, this is great too because the two notable, I mean, there's Winifred. Like, a lot of green investigators have high foot, but both Finn and Trish, they care about evading and then also getting clues. So Streetwise would actually fit pretty comfortably in their decks.
Yeah. There is no green investigator who does not have foot as their highest stat, other than Tony Morgan, because he's a blue character in disguise.
Yeah.
Or like tied for their highest stat. Every other green investigator is like that.
Yeah. Bryn, I'll pass these ones to you again.
We got Backstab. This is our first up on the list of ways to make our foot score matter. It is a 3-costed event. Fight, the attack uses foot instead of punch. This attack deals +2 damage, which is a lot of damage. The upgraded version does the same thing, except that if we succeed the test by 2 or more, we get to return it to our hand at the end of the turn. Can kind of just blow up enemies with your foot score that is likely much better than your punch score, or at least easier to make better.
Yeah, that level 3 backstab could do some work.
It's pretty sweet. Played this one with Chuck Fergus. It's a good time.
Oh, spoiler alert for this deck coming up.
Yeah, spoiler alert. We got lockpicks, which we got a level 0 and a level 1 version. The level 0 version, you exhaust it and investigate. Add your foot value to your skill value for this investigation. If you do not succeed by at least 2, discard lockpicks. The upgraded version, instead of discarding it, you get 3 supplies, and each time that you fail or you succeed by less than 2, you remove one of the supplies from it, discarding it when there are none. For the most part, if you are not succeeding your investigation by 2 after you've just added 4 or 5 to it, it was probably a pretty tough investigation. Yeah. And, hopefully you got the clue anyway.
Yeah,
but these...
You go, Bryn.
Sorry, these are both solid options to take our foot score and use it offensively towards the game, as opposed to, like, running away from things or trying not to take damage.
And like with lockpicks, especially if that is your game plan, the level 1 is a high priority upgrade, because then they just like won't break and they'll just like be in play for like the game. So
it is so much better.
Yeah. So I'm not passing cards to Travis because we're fighting or anything. It's just a green week, so that means he gets the week off. And honestly,
these cards are garbage. I don't want to talk about them.
So it looks like I know these cards. Like in my head, I know these cards, but I also like need to read them. So Brent, I'm gonna pass these ones to you again, just so I don't have to like.
So you don't have to read the green cards.
Yeah, so I have to stumble my way through them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
actually, the shade green kind of hurts my eyes.
Got Cheap Shot, which is a 2-costed event, commits for a punch or a foot. It is fight. Add your foot value to your skill value. If you succeed by 2 or more, automatically evade the attacked enemy. The upgraded version is you fight, add your foot value to the value for the attack. If you succeed by 1 or more, automatically evade the attacked enemy. If you succeed by 3 or more, return Cheap Shot to your hand at the end of your turn. So you'll see this is a recurring theme on many of these events, is that if you succeed by enough, it doesn't cost you the card. The other one we've got over here, Pilfer. It's a 4-costed event, which is a lot, but we get to investigate, and you can use your foot instead of your book. If you succeed, you discover 2 additional clues at your location. So this card is very bad in low player counts, because there will rarely be 3 clues on a location, but discovering 3 clues for a single action is very, very strong. The upgraded one is the same card, but with the rider, if you succeed by 2 or more, return it to your hand at the end of the turn.
Yeah.
Now, they do cost a lot of money to play with, but that's good, because we're playing green cards. We can make lots of money.
And then also, like, sometimes you're going to lose your Pilfer, and then you can just breathe a sigh of relief because you're now free of it, and you don't need to be like, all right, when am I using this Pilfer again? And you can just be like, I got a crap ton of clues out of it. I'm happy, right?
Yeah. Chances are good that if you're green and you're playing Pilfer, you're probably not your team's main clue finder. So if you just provide a 1-turn surge of 3 extra clues, that's probably going to be pretty big.
Yeah, everyone's going to look at you and be like, thanks. I think that's it for cards. It's not. Bryn, I don't know these. These go to you again.
All right, so we got Breaking and Entering. Breaking and Entering is a 2-costed investigate, add your foot to your skill value for this investigation. If you succeed by 2 or more, you may automatically evade an enemy at this location. This action does not provoke tax of opportunity. This card is pretty sweet. Mm-hmm. It lets you spend a part of your turn evading an enemy, but you also get to progress the game. Also, it doesn't say non-elite enemy because you have to pass a skill test in order to make it happen. Mm-hmm. So you can use this to evade anything, from an Acolyte to Urmordoth.
Yeah.
Then probably last up here, we got Sharpshooter, which is a 2-costed talent asset that, as a reaction effect, when you use a fight ability on a firearm asset, you can exhaust Sharpshooter to choose one or both. This attack uses your foot score instead of your punch score. All modifiers that your punch for this attack modify your foot instead. Or, because you can pick both. Use the attacked enemy's evade value for this attack instead of their fight value, which is mostly the good part of this card, honestly, is that. Because for most green investigators, the difference between their foot and their punch is only going to be about 1 and change, like maybe one and a third.
Man, every time I see this Sharpshooter card, I'm always like, this will be fun. And I just picture shooting a Night Gaunt at 1, and I'm like, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, the real strength of this card is that it lets you pick which part you want.
Yeah, definitely. Sick. All right. I'm going to talk about synergies. So this one's pretty straightforward. It's going to synergize both with the Rogue Evasion Matters, because with your foot value being high, running away from problems will be easier than ever. You also, with this Evasion Matters archetype, which we probably will get to the next time we're around to Rogue, you benefit from evading, and it's easy to evade when your foot is high. So like this will allow you to really just get the value, and kind of like more often than not, they kind of like complement each other. They're going to fit together really well because they both care about the same thing, which is your foot score being high. Another one is the Rogue Succeed by X archetype. Taking advantage of a high foot value will likely make the benefits of this archetype more likely to trigger. And you can already see that with cards like Pilfer, Cheap Shot, and the other one that's already slipped my mind.
Breaking and Entering.
Thank you. They care about how much you succeed by. So you can see they're already kind of like in there. It's kind of like how like a lot of archetypes in green complement each other, and this is no exception.
Yeah. It also synergize. Well, it doesn't directly synergize well with the big money archetypes, but as you can see, if you're returning one of those events to your hand every turn and trying to play it every turn, you're going to need a pile of money.
You'll want the money. Yeah, definitely. All right, Travis. Here's our deck that you built for this one.
What? I was wholly unprepared for this. Yeah, okay. It's a Chuck Fergus deck. It costs a lot of experience, like 37 experience, but that's because the cards in it are sweet.
They are sweet.
I have no frame of reference for how to make a good green deck with lots of experience. Is winning because we're trying to leverage her 5 foot to do things. She's got 3 in her other 2 relevant stats. Her brain's a dump stat, but what can you do?
Yeah,
this deck only plays 5 assets. 2 copies of lockpicks because getting clues is important. And I like getting clues. 1 copy of the moon because having 6 foot is better than having 5 foot. And 2 copies of Chuck Ferris because if we play this, then we don't need to play economy cards.
If you got Chuck Ferguson play, nothing else matters.
Yeah. So for the events that go with Chuck Fergus, we have you handle this one, which does not synergize with Chuck Fergus at all, but it is still very important because that is how you would do with brain tests.
Yep.
I saw it was a trick, and I was like, "Oh yeah," and I moused over Chuck Fergus and read what he did, and I was like, "Oh no." We got Sneak By, which is fantastic with Chuck Fergus because you get +2 to the foot test, and also it's just fast, really strong there.
Or free. It could be free.
Sneak By doesn't cost you any money.
Yeah, but it could be freer.
Yeah, you don't get 4 resources, I don't think, if you make it -2 cost sprint.
I think you do.
We got Backstab and Poker to do things good.
Mm-hmm.
These only cost 1 and 2 resources respectively, and even if you don't have the money for them after, you're very likely to succeed by enough to get them back because your foot's going to be jacked.
Yeah.
And you can always just dump them into tests and replace them with Winnie's ability. Then we got 2 copies of the Breaking and Entering, as well as 2 copies of Cheap Shot level 2. Both of which are, I think they do inverse things. Or am I stupid? Am I succeed by 1 or more? Oh no, this one's an investigation one. Yeah, okay. I really only kind of know what these cards do. They're events that you can play a bunch of times with Chuck Fergus, and they're free and they're fast, and you get to do them better.
Yeah, and you get to use your foot to do damage, which is better than using your foot to just always evade enemies.
Yeah. Anyway, the cool part about this is the only kind of green deck I think I might enjoy playing because you get to draw so many cards.
You really.
We've got 2 copies of Watch This because you do need some money, and also there's only so many green skills that are
yeah,
good.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, not even good, but playable.
Yep.
We got 2 copies of Daredevil because it's sick. How could you not play this in your Winnie deck? It just triggers her ability on its own.
Mm-hmm.
1 copy of Hatchet Man because I actually like Hatchet Man quite a bit, and I wish I had the opportunity to play it more. But yeah, it synergizes quite well with some stuff like Sneak By mostly, I guess. I was going to say some of these other events, but I remember you can't commit because they're not actually foot tests. Just evading guys is good. We got Mana Dexterity, again, helps you evade things good. We got Nimble, which is a whole bunch of actions crammed into 1 card, which is pretty sweet. And again, leverages that high foot stat that she has. 2 copies of Quick Thinking, just another, it's the best green skill probably. And then 2 copies of Opportunist level 2, which is just fantastic in this kind of archetype. If you go back and watch the Succeed by X videos, you will understand why it is so good here.
Yep.
Yeah, and this like just big pile of skills lets you just churn through your deck and find whatever sort of like it ensures you'll be able to find Chuck Fergus fairly consistently for the second copy should he get exploded, as well as finding whatever sort of niche skill or event that you need for a given situation.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. I mean, the deck looks fun. I say it every week. I always like these decks, and I think this one would be pretty sweet. But that's also because Winnie seems pretty sweet. She seems fun.
Yeah, I was looking over it, and I was like looking at the events because we were talking about economy from your deck building video you put up today. And I was like, man, we got 2 copies of Sneak By and 2 copies of Watch This, and that's it, huh? How are we going to pay for Pilfer more than once ever? And then I saw this first. I was like, oh, yeah.
That's when Chuck comes and he says, worry not, I'm going to hit this card with a pipe.
Yeah, again, it's one of them decks I built 6 months ago. I'm not really sure what I was thinking sometimes, but...
Brian, any thoughts you want to add? Because you're still, as I said, the resident green expert.
I will say that the Lucky Cigarette Case plays very nicely in Winifred Habenmock, helping to ensure that your hand remains full.
Yeah, definitely.
Is it necessary? No.
No.
But it's kind of cool.
It's kind of actually like, I'm going to interrupt you for a second, then I'm going to pass the ball back to you. But it's kind of like... with the Gloria deck, now that we're going to like start doing full guides for decks now and then, there's a lot of preference when it comes to deck building, and there's very rarely like the 100% right choice apart from like Ward of Protection and Deny Existence, apart from like the staples that exist within colors, right?
Like, I think if I was playing this deck, I'd probably play Lucky Cigarette Case, but I believe I shied away from it because I didn't want it to bleed too much into the Succeed by 2 archetype.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I wanted this to be like, it more cares about your foot stat.
Yeah, these deck lists in these archetype series are kind of like going hard on the archetype. Like, to the point where like we like probably wouldn't recommend going this hard if you wanted to like do better and like be more consistent. But if you want to go hard on the archetype, this is how you do it. All right, Brent, I'm going to throw the ball.
There's intended to be like proof of concepts.
Yeah, Brent, I'm going to throw the ball back to you.
I will also, the last thing I'll say here is that if you haven't played with Nimble, give it a try.
Sick.
This card is sweet.
Yeah, Brent's like, because it's awful.
No, because you'll hate it.
Yeah.
No, mostly because at this current point in time, I am largely not allowed to play the game with Elusive. Because it costs more experience than I think it's worth. Nimble is like pretty close.
Sweet.
All you have to do is manufacture a foot test.
And that's probably not too hard for a deck like this.
Yeah, and then you're just like on the other side of the map because.
Sweet. Well, you can check Travis's deck list out in the description below, and you can also find at the end of this video, it should be popping up right now or in a few seconds if it hasn't, a playlist for all of these archetype guides. If you want to see more of these, like and subscribe, and if you have any ideas for other archetypes, let us know in the comments. Travis has it already done, though. He already has the list for you, I promise. I thought there was one that sounded a bit peculiar, like I haven't seen in his archetypes, but lo and behold, it was there. It was waiting. I mean, actually, if we want to get pedantic, I think Travis's isn't the extension of what they want, but what you guys want, we will do in a weird deck building series, because it's less of like a archetype and more of like taking the idea of an archetype and turning it on its head. So that one we will see in a deck building video, but we'll see like a more refined, focused version that's actually like trying to do its archetype.
More of a gimmick than an archetype.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll see the actual archetype in the archetype guide in the future. But yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good one. And as always, GG's.